Today on the topic show, Trump tells Zelenskyy that it takes two to tango when Trump knows that he has a good relationship with Zelenskyy as well as with Vladimir Putin. Biden's ICE director admits over 425,000 known convicted criminal illegal immigrants have been released into the U.S. lately. WNBA Brittney Grinner says that they face racism from all 18 fans of the crowd. Well, only slightly under-exaggerating there. Arizona student stabbed by another student who claimed that she did it because the other one was a quote-unquote easy victim. Meta AR glasses prototypes are being revealed. Weight Watchers stock has dropped 90% and they're getting a new CEO. And Boars Head recall is expanded to now 19 states. All of that and much more on The Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day because he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, see that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Meta AR glasses. Well, the prototypes are finally being revealed, with a lot of people thinking all the hype is here. Will it change the world, or will it be another flop like Google Glass was, what was it, almost a decade ago, when a lot of people just said, well, we're going to call those nerd goggles. And Apple said, we're going to have our own VR. It's going to cost $4,000 plus, and about 18 people bought them. And they appreciated them, I suppose. Kind of. Now, this comes to us thanks to the OG search engine Yahoo Finance specifically, in which they say, quote, all eyes are on Meta's smart glasses, but questions persist over the secretive AR project. Now, this is actually by Yasmin Karam, who's a writer over there. I see Facebook's financials still not making not a lot of money from this idea, but they're rolling the dice. There you can see a picture of those new, very innovative, awesome pieces of tech. Not at all nerd goggles, as some might call them. Now, they say, quote, halfway through the keynote speech during Meta Connect event last Wednesday, Vice President of Augmented Reality Alex Himmel walked on the stage with a briefcase handcuffed to his wrist. He says, and then Mark Zuckerberg says, quote, this is Orion. Which used to be an old defunct, I believe it was actually a movie publisher back in the day, but I think it's the 80s, partially digress. And he says, quote, our first fully functioning prototype, and if I do say so, the most advanced glasses on the world has ever seen. He's hyping it up. They quote, investors finally got a sneak peek of the moonshot from the money-losing Reality Labs division inside Meta. The project has been shrouded in secrecy after nearly a decade of development and billions of dollars in research and build. It also arrives as Wall Street increasingly questions the spending at the division as burned through. Jeez Louise. Facebook has spent $50 billion on that division since 2020, which is quite a pretty penny. Granted, Facebook, or more accurately said, the Facebook, they need to evolve because, again, there's a platform, while exceedingly, great, profitable, investors love it. A lot of people log on every day to check the Facebook, to hear the stories, like the stuff, and all that kind of stuff. But they are at risk of worrying about, well, is TikTok going to take our market? Are users going to go somewhere else? How can we diversify our portfolio, keep growing as a company? So, it does make sense to roll in the dice, trying to make sure they continue to expand and push themselves. But yeah, investors might get a little concerned. $50 billion, and what's the ROI? How much have we made from this, Mark? Now, they say Zuckerberg hopes that Orion can bridge the gap between the digital and real world and eventually replace smartphones, but its debut may be further away than Meta bulls think. There you see actually let's pull up those numbers here. There you can see Meta income loss from operations and revenue by segment quarterly. And the profit, oh geez. So in all the family apps, you see, yeah, let's see. Since 2022, negative 2 point, say on average about $3 billion a year they're losing negative with Reality Labs. And the family of apps is, again, the Facebook, the Instagram, as well as what else do they buy out? Do they buy out the WhatsApp? I forget, but nevertheless, those are between 11 billion, 21 billion in Q4 2023. Jeez Louise, that's ridiculously good. And by revenue, you can see, yeah, it's all, there's, if you squint, or if you looked in with a magnifying glass, you see a sliver of some revenue from the Reality Labs. But again, it's not, I don't even think it's even 1% right here. But yeah, you can see the fiscal numbers are not looking good. They say, quote, Meta had previously argued it's targeting 2027 to begin shipping its long-range AR glasses, yet several insiders who work at the company building the Orion exclusively told Yahoo Finance that despite the product being magical and precious, it may never hit customers' hands or return to the market or make a return investment for Meta. That's a nice way of saying they're going to lose money on that for a long time and never make any money at all. They quote, according to two former engineers who now to the project, the initial goal was to build approximately 1,000 units, which quickly turned into only a few hundred. Out of these, people familiar with the project estimate that fewer than 20 actually turn on and show a quality image, taking the quality or average cost of just working prototypes to hundreds of thousands of dollars, which, yeah, it's not great. Zuckerberg's expectation was for some of the material used to build Orion to drop in price for the last several years. That didn't happen as had hoped, partially due to trade restrictions, meaning some of the materials will have to be changed for future versions to be financially sustainable. They consider saying, quote, they don't know whether the technology will work and whether it'll ever work in the price point everyone can afford, said a former lead engineer who has not to be identified. He continued saying, quote, right now they don't have the material that they can make at a reasonable price point. They say that the Orion is actually, now this is a unique thing about this, because again, we've had these, nerd goggles for nerd glasses before, which I only partially jest. There's a lot of business applications where it does absolutely, you can see it making sense. Especially when I look at, my perspective, I'm a tech company, we work a little bit of work in the data centers, which remember, there's no such thing as a cloud, it's just someone else's computer. But you could have someone who maybe isn't traditionally trained or they have to be an IT expert, but if they have the glasses on, you could actually, you could teach them to do some things that do need to be done manually on the physical hardware that there is. Again, everyone says software of the future, and it is, but remember, the hardware is somewhere, and it does take maintenance. So I could see them, as well as other applications where there's telecom installs, and maybe it gets to the point where you can actually have, like, if you're set up a router or something like that else, depending on the complexity, you could actually have someone from the company just tell you how to do it with your own glasses. And then in terms of social, I'm sure people love to record each other and, have the augmented things. I'm not saying there's no business use case for this. I just debate how many years until it's socially, culturally acceptable in the United States. And again, how do you get that price point down to its affordable to average American? Half the reason people joke about the Apple augmented AR goggles, or they actually call them, or the Vision Pro Banana Falcon, is because it's comically it's overpriced for what I consider. It's a price of a used car. What was it, like $4,000 plus the Apple Care and all other stuff you got to bolt on that thing? Especially, I know I say it a lot on the show, but in this economy, because again, unprecedented economical and political uncertainty, a lot of people are not buying luxury items. So that's why I think the Apple Vision Pro isn't doing so well these days, because again, it's a toy at the moment with some business applications. Now, again, the very unique thing about the Facebook's idea, so not only do they have the glasses, but it's three parts. So they also have a wristband as well as a puck. What is this? That powers the device graphics and connectivity. The puck is referred to as the central compute. People familiar with the project said, which help me think, what is that also called? Oh yeah, hotspot, which again, I'm sure also does other things as well. They say its cheap materials are silicon carbide, waveguide sandwiched between two protective lenses, 7 cameras, geez Louise, that is quite a few, and 2 micro LED projectors, custom silicon, one of the most expensive parts of the project. Yeah, they keep saying they're estimating it costs around $10,000, which, again, over time, you can usually decrease the cost per unit with manufacturing, but gosh, that is a huge price point. Now, some businesses might buy that for the aforementioned, what I was previously talking about. They might invest in that. But if you really want to sell a huge volume of units and really, cliche to say, but make a dent in the universe in volume, you need to slash that down to a tenth of that. Now, Zuckerberg said he's aware of the challenges. He ended his keynote by saying they're focused on key changes being made to the Orion before it goes to consumers. He said, quote, for now, I think the right way to look at the Orion at this time is a time machine. These glasses exist. They are awesome, and they are a glimpse of the future, and I think it's going to be pretty exciting. Which, yeah, looking at the finances, they say not doing great. See, Reality Labs lost, $16.1 billion in 2023 alone, according to the company's filings, which contributed to less than, so they did get some revenues. They're making some money in these labs, $2 billion. So they spent $16.1 billion, and they made $2 billion. So again, they're negative 14 14 million. About, they say, by comparison, the company's family of apps segment includes the Facebook, the Instagram, and the WhatsApp, pulled in $62.9 billion in profits. So, yeah. Again, every company is worried. No one wants to be Atari. No one wants to be the company that didn't innovate and go to the next project or come out with the next product. Because again, there are some companies where you think there's no way they go out of business, and yet time and time again, history has shown they do in fact go out of business. I mean, in terms of my generation, one of the best examples in history would be Sears, which I mean, at one point, Sears had such a large presence in retail. They OEM'd everything. They had Sears branded. I mean, they actually launched some of the most successful companies we know today, like Discover Credit Card, which subsequently last year was sold to Capital One. You also have Allstate, the insurance company. There are a lot. I mean, Craftsman Tools. And Sears at one point, I mean, their mail order was so successful in terms of a portfolio of products. Actually, I grew up in a Sears house. They actually sold kits for a house. You buy the kit from Sears. It came with the instructions and materials. And you and yourself or your contractor to actually build a house. They had a Sears car, for Christ's sakes. Like, everything. No one thought anyone would challenge that business ever. And now, I mean, Kmart subsequently bought them out, or, kind of they merged together. And now the last big Kmart closed last week, or the announcement that it was going to be closed last week. They actually ending, the official close date will be in October. But now Sears is basically nothing. And for most of us, I mean, it'll soon be just be a distant memory. So I definitely understand that Facebook needs to, consistently invest in new technologies. They don't want to be left behind and become Sears or Yahoo, which Yahoo, another story for another time. But I wonder how many years will it take for this segment of the company to become profitable, and is it truly the future for the Facebook, or as they call it now, Meta? And out of curiosity, would you ever buy some of these augmented reality glasses? I mean, there are a lot of options out there. Let me look at this because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, you have Weight Watchers stock down 90% and they get a new CEO, which, of course, when we're talking financing, we have to do that fun caveat for the US market. Well, globally, I suppose. Well, this is not financial advice. And I say global market. Interesting enough, the people who are suffering under the dictatorship of Trudeau in Canada, I'm excited they actually do have some Canadian citizens who tune in. So I appreciate you taking the time to tune in from the cold North tundra. Now, look at their stock. It's crashed worse than a Boeing airplane. It is rough. Now, pulling up their 5-year timeline, stock is down 97.77%. Now, granted, by the time this video is rendered and uploaded, the stock price will change because that's what the stock market does. Currently trading for, 83 cents per share. Again, it's gone 97.77% the past 5 years. The past 1 year trend is down 92%. Year to date, down 90%. 6 months, down 50%. Past 1 month, down 1%. So topsy-turvy. Last week actually went up by 1%. And market cap is down, to $66.61 million, which, again, what used to be one of the largest publicly traded companies, they are, that's nothing. Looks like it founded May 15, 1963 in Queens, New York, founded by Gene Nadich, which, again, that has been one of the most iconic diet companies in history. In 2023, they had as many as 4,850 employees and still headquartered in New York, New York. And yeah, I mean, it's one of those, probably I don't know if they invented it, but they might as well have perfected the marketing and the social and the whole business of Weight Watchers. I mean, there's a whole culture that they built up, and it's very popular for many years. But yep, they've been struggling because they've been I don't want to say left behind, but yeah, there's a lot of competition these days, and I don't see how they're going to bounce back. Now, there's also an article in LinkedIn, thanks to actually brought this up as well, where they kind of dive in a little bit deeper. Now, they say, quote, after shedding around, again, this is thanks to Melissa Cantor, who's a writer over there, saying, quote, after shedding 90% of its stock value this year, Weight Watchers has now let go of CEO Sima Sistani. The weight loss chain said board member Tara Kamoti, previously the chief executive to Shake Shack, has assumed the role on an interim basis. Sistani had a tumultuous 2.5-year reign atop the former diet company, which responded to the GLP-1 drug boom with a belated embrace of pharmaceuticals. However, the pivot proved unsuccessful as most consumers opted to use, quote, GLP-1 drugs on their own. Says Sistani's 2023 compensation totaled $8.9 million. Her aggregate package includes nearly, what the heck is this? $38,000 in executive coaching. Just being whatever. Oh, is the season. Apologies. But yeah, whatever the right hell that is. Now, she actually made a statement. Sima says, quote, I'm sharing some big bittersweet news today, and this is snipped from a note I shared with my amazing team. One of the most understated lessons about true leadership is the art of winning is the handoff. This recently on the most vibrant display at the Summer Olympics 4x100 relay, where our best athletes raced to their teammates in order to make it across the finish line. Interesting start. This quote, I've never felt this truth more than I do now as I reflect upon my time at Weight Watchers. When I joined, we were a consumer lifestyle business, and I knew it would take a bold agenda to transform into a health platform to empower our members to live healthier, longer lives. We expanded access, education, and community with a new movement in the weight health, and I'm proud that our team is embracing this change. But now it's time for handoff. After the hard intentional work of transforming the 61-year-old company's vision and mission, I'm passing the baton to my dear friend, Tamara Kamote, who will lead Weight Watchers to the next chapter. But this is hardly a goodbye. Just like a good teammate, I'm excited to meet all of you at the finish line victorious, as I always known to be. Oh, jeez. Thank you to everyone who supported my journey and showed up for me during my time as CEO. I know you'll join me in continuing to root for the company's success. Sounds interesting. You got that little fun little team metaphor there, but yeah, I'm not sure that transformation is working because again, the stock has dropped to 83 cents per share. I mean, they're going to be delisted if they're not careful. Again, I forget how many. I think you get 2 slaps on the wrist in terms of your stock. One of the stipulations of being on the New York Stock Exchange, well, it has to be above $1 per share. So they're going to have to do a reverse stock split or something. It's not looking good. And again, there's a lot of, these days there's almost as many apps for dieting as there are for financial advice and financial budgeting. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're both necessary things that many people need. That's why there's a proliferation of options for them. But it's not a thing where they're not really an industry leader anymore. They're not the best logo. They're not the best. I mean, kind of cliche to say, but the brand just kind of aged out. And I mean, even when I worked in corporate America, it's almost a lifetime ago. It started seeing about 10 years, about 9-10 years ago when I worked in a corporate office. It was one of those instances where there was a Weight Watchers like a program. It used to be a funny competition of who was going to earn your time at lunch. Where I was part of the Toastmasters Club. Ironically, I actually was worse at public speaking than I am now, believe it or not. And I was part of the Toastmasters Club to increase my speaking acumen, which I'd say did work. I mean, I don't think there's any videos of me trying to speak as like a high school or college. I mean, but yeah, it was even worse back then, trust me. But yeah, it's one of those things where Weight Watchers was still there, but even they told us it was kind of waning in terms of membership was going down. People weren't going to the meetings as much, and it kind of a little sad to see what was an iconic brand, an iconic community. There's some great people helping each other out, trying to encourage each other this way. I think it was a great for so long, but I know it's kind of cliche to say, but I think it's just the proliferation of so much competition, and they just weren't able to adapt quickly enough. And are they able to make a comeback? I mean, their stock is none of this financial advice. I would not buy this stock. I mean, it, it's a good logo that people know. So there's intellectual property there, but I don't see a path to success. We'll see what the new CEO does. I mean, hopefully she's really able to helpfully turn around the company so there's not too many people who lose their jobs. But I'm just so skeptical. Let me know, dude. I mean, kind of like Tupperware. It used to be an iconic staple of Americana, and they just went bankrupt. Was it early last week? And I mean, I think it was 6 months prior to that they actually closed down the last U.S. manufacturing site. They just didn't adapt, and I think we're going to see the same thing. Weight Watchers, unfortunately. But let me know in the comments because, as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the culture part of the podcast, you have an Arizona student that stabbed another student, and she claimed that she did because the other gal was a easy target, which is emotionally and mentally vacuous to say the least, and morally vacuous, which yeah, our country fortunately the cultural decay continues to happen in the United States. Now, this is brought to us thanks to Libs at TikTok, and you definitely won't see this on the CNNs of the world. And she says, quote, Arizona State student Amara Daffron was randomly stabbed by fellow student Casey Sloan. Sloan repeatedly targeted Mara because she was a quote-unquote easy target. You didn't hear this on MSN because it doesn't fit the narrative. Mara is currently in the hospital. Please pray for her current recovery. Which, I mean, hopefully she does make a full recovery, and thanks to the marvels of medical engineering and capabilities. I mean, hopefully is and again, obviously it's not good. She's in pain in this hospital, but I mean, hopefully is a trying to think of a appropriate way this an easy medical procedure to fix her and alleviate that pain. Now she's saying it doesn't fit the mainstream media because in this case you have, interesting enough, culturally, and there's a lot of people who think it's a conspiracy theory, but in this case it was a large African American woman who allegedly had stabbed a petite white gal in a nice dress. Our girl was wearing an Arizona sweater. And it went pretty viral. Got 3.4 million views as well as 6.3 thousand likes. And culturally speaking, I remember when I was a kid, there was always these cliches where people would make jokes about how the police would try harder if there's a white victim, and how the media would only cover certain things. And a lot of people are saying now it's almost been reversed in mainstream media. And truth be told, when I tune into the CNNs and the MSNBCs and check out their websites, it is fascinating to see the juxtaposition of what the different stations cover, how they frame certain things. So I always tell people you should never not tune into. You should always try to seek out as much additional information as possible to form a well-rounded opinion. But I mean, I joke a lot about CNN, and I mean, in Fox Business, I joke that they're really in business because I mean they're just so terrible at it in general. But again, I want as many options as possible so you can gather as much information. And in this case, you do see less coverage in these types of instances. Now, it went pretty viral. Again, 3.4 million views as well as 63,000 likes. Now, one of the first comments that I don't agree with, but it is one of the top comments, it says, Libercat Media TM says, quote, because she has, and there's a meme, or not a meme, it's just a picture with a text on it. But nevertheless, it says, quote, black privilege is the ability to break every law in the country and still be a victim, getting 3.1 thousand likes. Also, Gunther Eagleman, who says, quote, this is the kind of hate crime that has to be prosecuted. Examples will be set, getting 5,000 likes. Which, culturally speaking, there's been, ever since I was, let me know in the comments, but ever since I was a kid, and again, if you click that subscribe button, I greatly appreciate it. I have a theory when I first started the show, barely any subscribers, but as I slowly but surely get more subscribers, I've increased my speaking aptitudes. And I know I'm speaking way too fast today. I admittedly a lot of caffeine this week, but nevertheless, I am slowly but surely attempting to get better and putting that as something to focus on. And I appreciate you taking the time to click that like and subscribe button because, again, the more people have done that, the better I have been able to speak. Granted, I joke, some people might say it's a modicum of improvement, but improvement nevertheless. So if you can click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. I will attempt to continue to read the comments in a coherent case that you can actually, or cadence that you can actually hear and understand and comprehend. You also have Paul Zupa saying, quote, pray for Maria, shame at the media for their selective outrage, getting 1.2 thousand likes. You also have AKA saying horrible with prayer emojis, getting 318 likes. Wow, this got 3.6 thousand likes. So this is from Fight the Memes. Appropriate name for that profile because they in fact use a meme to communicate. And he says it wasn't random. And the meme is the NPC character just looking happy and coherent and peaceful. It says white assailant, white victim, black assailant, black victim, black assailant, white victim. And it says white assailant, black victim, and the NPC person lights up their eyes and they're very much at attention. Got 3.6 thousand likes. We also have Thick Shelled Egg says, reminds me of something else. And I forgot if this victim passed away, but there's a large African American woman who stabbed a little white boy earlier this year. And at the trial, I won't play the volume because there's courtroom noises, but it's just a clear lack of remorse. Like, again, every race has sociopaths and evil people. And the media coverage, in this case, they didn't really cover it. It was really independent reporters that covered this incident. And you could see this person, I think I legally have to say alleged, but yeah, look at that. So they smiled when they were being read their charges. They just smile at the camera cockily and smile. They look at the camera, cock their head, and smile for stabbing a child. Like it can't. It's almost incomprehensible how evil you have to be to hurt a child. And this legal adult, yeah, just smiled when they were being read the charges. No remorse. Disgusting. You also have Junita Broderick saying, quote, the eyes of a deranged monster, getting 2.3 thousand likes. Scrolling down more and more. Let's see. Top comments here. Bowtied Queen Bee says there's no reason to send them to college. There's a picture of a, well, I'm guessing a lady with very short hair, glasses, and says, or not glasses, sorry, earrings. Says I shouldn't even be a barista, or I shouldn't even be a barista. Have a degree in gender and queer studies. College gets you nowhere. And some response saying Star Wars is literally what the degree is, though. Okay, 1,000 likes, which argue the ROI of most college degrees these days, but yeah, that one in general. Unless you want to be, it's one of those weird things where you can only make money doing that if you become a teacher, perpetuating the existence. Like, there's way too many people getting that degrees, and there's no marketable skills or really ROI to get off of that. That did get 1,000 likes. You have to have Michael Gunderson saying, quote, why do they always have the same look? And he has a bunch of deranged looking people getting 985 likes. Florida One says, no media? What exactly is media afraid of? Seriously, what is the benefit of deception at this point? Getting 340 likes. Let's see here. Reddit Live says, Reddit mods already tried to suppress the race of the stabber on day one. And yeah, and you do see this with CNN and a couple of those other outlets where in certain instances they will name the race. Like if it's a white person who commits a crime, that'll be the first thing in the article. But if it's another race, they don't mention that. They omit it, which again, it's the same incident, but depending on where you tune in, they frame it very differently. Now that did get 731 likes. And Magastodi saying, quote, obviously racially motivated, and she targeted the girl prettier than her, lock the monster up and throw away the key, game 1,000 likes. Let's see, any contrarian statements yet? Not yet. Redway Press says, seems like it would be a hate crime, getting 738 likes, or sorry, 39 likes. Let's see here. Jack Lakeland says she's jealous of the pretty girl. She's a monster, an ugly one. Attacks like this are always going to happen when they're encouraged by the media and Democrats with their hate speech. Getting 798 likes. Yeah, a lot of people doing close-ups of the alleged stabber face, and the eyes look quite creepy. Yeah. So hopefully she makes a speedy recovery. And yeah, it is interesting to see. I mean, thankfully for Elon and X Twitter, I mean, this isn't getting censored. You're able to see more of the full picture in this regard. And yeah, I really hope. Obviously, thoughts and prayers being sent to her. I hope she, hopefully the medical professionals are able to take care of her. So she has an expedient recovery, and she's quite all well at the end of the day. But yeah, I mean, stabbing on a college, yeah, as if people needed another reason not to go to college these days. Now they're getting stabbed. In addition to getting a degree that, in most cases, are not paying off. And I made that mistake too. I got a business degree, East Louise, which again, I met some good people at U of Iowa, and it's a great state. I love living there. I stayed there for a while after graduating, but I mean, I learned more in the first year of starting business than all 4 years of business school. It's like, yeah, and it's still paying. Knock on wood, I'll get those paid off shortly, but geez, it's been a struggle to say the least. I always tell folks, yeah, think don't just think twice. Think 3 times if you're young and thinking about going to college, and ask, do you really need that piece of paper, that college experience? Because most likely, statistically speaking, yeah, interesting enough, I've met more millionaires who dropped out of high school than actually went to college. But yeah, let me know. Do you think, I mean, these college violence incidents are going to decrease? Do you think the media will continue to frame things as they've done, or do you think that might turn around anytime soon? Let me know in the comments, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting cultural news, you have the WNBA Brittney Grinner saying that they face racism from all 18 of their fans. Well, I'm like partially jest. I'm sure there's 19 people watching the WNBA live if they have parents or guardians who are coming to tune into the game. Or you have a gentleman who loses a bet, or perhaps he's just indebted to a friend who wants to torture him, and the bet is you have to go see a WNBA game, which I need to double check the research. I think that's against the Geneva Convention, but I need to double check. Now, this was reposted thanks to Matt Walsh, hashtag Sweet Baby Gang, and this was originally from, looks like Matt says, quote, no one is screaming racial slurs at WNBA game. You have to have your brain damaged to believe this nonsense. And oh shoot, I forgot to do a visual warning. I know the youth like that these days, but on the screen right now there's a picture and there will be subsequently a video of Brittney Grinner. So I do apologize. It is quite horrifying, and yeah, the voice is more baritone than I can't even think of a parody. It's so comically low. But let's hear what Brittney Grinner has to say. The famous druggie from Russia. Well, yeah, probably the And she's best known for being the worst trade in history. The United States with Biden and Harris, they decided to trade literally the Lord of War, Victor Bout. They traded that Russian arms dealer for Brittney Griner because she was mentally vacuous. She went to Russia with illegal drugs, did drugs, and apparently had the drugs on her when she was playing basketball over there, and she's subsequently arrested for breaking Russian law. So apparently getting high was more important than staying out of jail for her. She also has a whole long track record of not standing for the American flag. She kneels and basically just talks smack about our country all before she's arrested in Russia. And then we traded Victor Bout for her. Yeah, that as Trump would say, that's the opposite of the art of the deal, but and then the U.S. decided she's more important than a U.S. Marine who's still trapped in Russia. Priorities in the United States these days. But without too much further ado, let's go here. Let's hear what Brittney Griner has to say.
So we're close. We're real close. I know I feel my body feels better. Feel better about the game, but it's not that 2020. No.
How do you feel about what has happened over the past year with the W since you first came in to where it is now? And obviously the game has grown and there's new fans, but how do you appreciate the new fans without all the noise that's come
with them? I appreciate the new fans that sit there and yell racial slurs at myself, my teammates, and the people that I play against. Because yeah, those might be opponents, but those are friends too. They don't deserve that. So I don't appreciate the new fans. I think it's okay to do that. But I do appreciate the new fans that respect the game, that are here to grow our league. Bringing people that may have not ever watched the to a WNBA game, so we can grow more fans. I do appreciate them. I appreciate the players that came in, and that are coming in with the spark that they have playing at the level that they're playing at. We need more players coming in ready to put on a show and ready to give a good product, so we can keep growing each year. I'm happy about where the game is now versus when I came into the league.
I thought she was making a joke because they lost about, what was it, $200 million last year? Yeah, it's one of the worst investments in history from the NBA. Now, Matt said, again, he responded, say, quote, "No one is screaming racial slurs at a WNBA game. You have to be brain damaged to believe this nonsense," which, yeah, I mean, you know how we know it isn't happening? Because if it happened, it would be played nonstop, 24/7 for months on every mainstream news network. Because again, that's what they value. That's all they focus about is race these days. I mean, they've never stopped talking about it. I mean, it would be years before they shut up if this is actually happening. And also, I don't know. I mean, of the 18 a-holes who are racist in the United States who are still left, are they going out of their way to go to a WNBA game? I mean, perhaps, conceivably, we could stop crime in the United States if the punishment for crime was you no longer had to go to prison, or there was no death penalty. Instead, you had to go to a WNBA game. I'm not saying I just solved the crime issue in the United States, but I mean, if that was the punishment, I mean, I'm not saying world peace would happen overnight, but again, it might be considered cruel and unusual punishment. It'd probably be challenged all the way up to the Supreme Court. I'm honestly not sure how they rule these days in terms of that type of punishment handed out. That'd be a tough penalty though. Now, going to the top comments again, I got 1.4 million views and 34,000 likes. The first comments comes from AKA saying, quote, "Oh, give me a break. It's 95% black people. No one is throwing racial slurs." I got 753 likes. You have Heath Ranger saying fake victimhood, the currency of woke, getting 446 likes. We do have a contrarian statement brewing to the surface. Someone by the name of, I was going to say Brandy. No, it's a Bricky. There's a trans flag in his profile. So, got here. Person's the founder of Transvidi, transgender advocate, USAF veteran, author of Fit Bodies, passionate about empowering the community, or trans community. Yeah, so Lisa, I do appreciate this individual's service to our country. And this person says, quote, "How many WNBA games have you personally attended, Matt?" I got 27 likes. I'm a little biased, but I'm going to read one of the top responses to this individual because I'm a little biased. I think he's handsome and brilliant. He's me, hashtag the topping show on X Twitter. And I say, quote, he had to attend a game as punishment for losing a bet, which is the most common reason men attend who are not family of the players. Got 5 likes. We also have Swan13 saying no one ever goes to WNBA games, give 51 likes. Pentinent Theft says, quote, 100% the idea that white people would sit there and throw and hurl racial slurs is absurd. How has this never been an issue in 20 million and other massing sporting events over the past 50 years? Only WNBA. This is stupid, getting 142 likes. The right answer says, almost every bias incident in the past 5 years has turned out to be a giant hoax. This is no different, getting 572 likes, which, again, of all the 18 people who go to a WNBA game, presumably, majority of them do have smartphones, and I'm pretty sure they do televise, broadcast them to the insane asylums, but they do broadcast the WNBA games. So, I mean, if this was happening, I mean, the odds that it would be caught on tape, or more accurately on SSDs and smartphones, it's not 100%, but it'd be damn near 100%. Now, you also have Mark saying, shockingly enough, the white nationalist, is it neo-Nazi part of the world typically doesn't attend. Ooh, a contrarian statement? Interesting, folks. Let me reset this. Mark says, quote, shockingly enough, the white nationalist neo-Nazi of the world typically doesn't attend WNBA games. In fact, from what I can tell, nobody at all attends WNBA games except for friends and family of players, getting 266 likes. Not sure why they think Matt is a Nazi. I'm not sure. I don't think Matt's famously known for wearing flannel. I don't think he wears a Hugo Boss. This is fun from the 40s. Now, Cash Loren says, quote, permanent victimhood has been ingrained in their identity, getting 15 likes. Let's see. Adam Johnson says, everyone knows the WNBA fans are notoriously hard-drinking and outwardly racist. English football hooligans are choir boys compared to the WNBA fans. Getting 324 likes, which, yes. Well, Turtle says she belongs in a Russian prison, getting 608 likes. Romanti says, quote, this dude lives in a different planet than the rest of us, getting 257 likes. Alpha Bravo says, I can't look at this disgusting human being. It hates our country, then get the F out. Getting 19 likes. Let's see, trying to see if there's any more contrary statements. Not seeing any. Joe Someone Important says, yeah, the KKK routinely pays for WNBA tickets to go to racial slurs at Brittney Grinner. Yeah. Mentally, of course they wouldn't. Getting 97 likes. Let's see. Try to see. Mr. Bob says, she, he, them is the Megan Rapinoe of Colin Kaepernick, getting 29 likes. Pretty sure the Sweet Baby Gang showed up in spades because an overwhelming majority of these comments are all supporting Matt. Which again, I mean, I don't see it. Yeah, I can't imagine someone yelling slurs at Brittney Griner. I can see someone maybe yelling like, you're unpatriotic or un-American because how much she historically has hated and insulted our country. But I don't see them paying to go to a WNBA game. And I mean, let me know in the comments, do you think, what are the Las Vegas odds on these incidents actually happening? And I mean, would you place money on that bet? Again, not financial advice, and truth be told, I'm not really big into gambling. But yeah, I can't help but think, yeah, I definitely wouldn't. Now, going over to the political part of the podcast, you have Biden Harris and you actually have the border agent admitting that they have over 425 convicted criminals released into the U.S. Which, yep, immigration, or more accurately, illegal, improper immigration, is going to be one of the hottest topics, I think, for the upcoming election. Where, again, I mean, in terms of proper people who come to the country legally through the paperwork process, the background check, that is much less controversial. There are some people who do think we should, completely shut down all the borders. They argue that we have enough population, we have enough natural, homegrown talent for business to meet business demands and community demands, that we don't need to import people anymore. I've also have other people who are pointing to the declining birth rate, saying we need to import more folks to generate more tax revenue. I mean, this is an age as old as time, basically, between Republicans and Democrats, which the usual copy paste is every couple decades. Republicans just sign off on bills saying, oh yeah, we'll give them amnesty, but you got to promise us we're going to build that wall and secure the border. And the Democrats give them winks, oh yeah, we'll do that. And Republicans never hold them accountable because, well, probably because there's so many rhinos, pejoratively known as Republicans in name only in politics. Now, this comes to us thanks to Benny Johnson on the good old X Twitter, which he says, quote, breaking, Kamala Harris, Biden ICE director, admits over 425,000 known convicted criminal illegal immigrants have been released into the United States, including 13,000 who were convicted of homicide and 15,000 that were convicted of, I'll cover your ears if you have trouble listening, sexual assault. Wow. Now, this went pretty well. I got 2.6 million views as well as 37,000 likes. Looks like there's a quick Fox segment. That's about 3 minutes. Probably play the first minute or two.
The director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement confirms that more than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been caught at the border and then released into the United States. The letter here tells the tale. Hello, I'm John Roberts in Washington. You believe this, Sandra?
Which means they are here, and this is just an unbelievable development. I'm Sandra Smith in New York. Good to be with you, John. This is America Reports. Let's get right to Bill Malugin. He's got this news for us. He's live out of Douglas, Arizona right now, where Vice President Kamala Harris is set to visit later this afternoon. Bill, the details of this news, what do you have?
Yeah, and Sandra, bear with me. We just got these numbers moments ago, but it's a jaw dropper to say the least. So to set the stage here, let me just explain what these numbers mean. ICE has something called a non-detained docket. Essentially what that is it means migrants who were encountered by DHS but are no longer in federal custody. So who's on this non-detained docket? It's illegal immigrants who were caught and released at the border, released with the court date years away. They're in immigration proceedings, combined with illegal immigrants who have already been ordered deported from the country by a judge but are still here roaming the country. So keep that in mind, this non-detained docket. According to a letter that the acting director of ICE just sent to Texas Congressman Tony Gonzalez, on ICE's non-detained docket, they're currently tracking 425,000 non-citizens who have been convicted of a crime. Of that number, over 13,000 non-citizens have convictions for homicide and are on the non-detained docket, meaning they're roaming the country right now. On top of that, there are another 15,811 non-citizens convicted of sexual assault who are roaming the country right now on ICE's non-detained docket. It doesn't stop there. Those are convictions. The ICE director also says there are currently just under 1,900 non-citizens on the non-detained docket who have pending homicide charges who are roaming the country, and another 4,250 non-citizens who have pending sexual assault charges who are roaming the country on the non-detained docket. So people's eyes might be glazing over right now with all the numbers we just threw at you, just to put it in.
That's insane. Yep, went pretty well. I got 2.6 million views and 37,000 likes. And yeah, that's quite a lot. And highlights yet another reason we should want a secure border, so we know to not let these people in and let people who are, honest, hardworking folks who actually follow the law in the process, green light those folks in. Now, some of the top comments going to here you got Gunther Eagleman saying, quote, Kamala Harris doesn't care. To her, they are voters no matter what they cost, or what the cost rather, getting 690 likes. Daddy Supa Doge says, I did that. It's an AI generated image of Kamala Harris standing by the fence getting 203 likes, which, thanks to that, I'm pretty sure I have to do the good old YouTube, click that button that says I've been using AI to manipulate images. Fascinatingly enough, only the videos where I critique Kamala Harris are removed, which is from the YouTube when they delete it. And you have another reason to watch the Topic Show on rumble.com. Or head over to Apple Podcast or Spotify. Image of Kamala Harris got 203 likes. We also have Chopper saying, quote, 66 billion to illegal aliens, 3 billion to homeless veterans. Wake the F up, you idiots. Getting 155 likes. Hashtag vote 2044 to save America. Very long hashtag. Don Marie says, treason, they should be charged accordingly. For 3.5 years, they claim the border is closed and the border was secure. Yeah, true. And 496 likes. Dr. Hunter says, quote, measure the consequences of releasing 425 convicted criminals into the streets. Or be prepared for what's lurking in the shadows that really do hate American people. Got 117 likes. Going down more and more. Mike Engelman says, quote, Kamala Harris owns it, getting 119 likes. Old School Eddie says, this is why we have violence surging across the country, getting 181 likes. The Plural Irishman says, quote, our current administration is incompetent. This is just unforgivable. they're literally trying to get America as unsafe as possible. Getting 92 likes, which I'm not sure if they're incompetent or if it's by design. There are a lot of theories out there. We used to call them conspiracy theories. Now I like to call them previews. But there are a lot of people saying, well, what if they want the crime to get so bad? Then they could say, well, they could justify the use of martial law and get rid of the few remaining rights that we have. Not there's many left they can take. So a lot of people are theorizing maybe that's why they're doing it. Again, that's one of the conspiracy theories. I don't have any hard facts or evidence at this point, besides the fact that we've seen so many of these incidents of violence happening from people illegally coming here. You also have Marista Hastings saying, have a picture of Kamala, let's say a painting, Kamala laughing in front of the border wall and has people jumping over. It says borders are getting 56 likes. Lost says who still votes for Kamala after seeing this, getting 46 likes. First Word says no problem, Kamala is visiting the border today, getting 86 likes. Let's see, Red Wave Press says very, very concerning, getting 79 likes, which should be concerning. Again, it blows my mind. Blows my mind. It's kind of heartbreaking that this is a political issue. It's a divisive issue. It's not uniting Americans. Let's see. First Bitcoin says I found one that counts as 100 people. Well, I'm trying to keep this moderately family appropriate. People who take advantage of statistically, people who take advantage of women in the bedroom. And it says sex offenders. A picture of Donald Trump got 31 likes. So we do have one contrarian statement thus far. Miss Miliando says, but Kamala has repeatedly told us an undocumented immigrant is not a criminal. Getting 3 likes. Let's see. So now we're starting to get some of these statistics out there. I wonder if it'll sway any voters or people will kind of, play it down and not believe the statistics. I mean, if there are a lot of people, on the left and the right who would vote for a party no matter who's on the ballot, which is ridiculous. As long as some of those things are, even if I don't agree with someone's vote, as long as it's an educated vote, where they can tell me 3 policies that they're proposing or 3 things they've done historically in their political track record that would align with their view or their beliefs. At least respect it if I don't agree with it. But yeah, just voting blue from no matter who, that's mentally vacuous. And again, people on the right do that as well, where they'll just vote whoever's on the Republican ballot. Absolutely ridiculous. If it's up to me, we wouldn't have anything in terms of politics on the ballot. It wouldn't be, you wouldn't see the R's, you wouldn't see the D's next to the name. You'd actually have to know who you're voting for. Granted, that would actually increase the barrier to being an educated voter, which I think a lot of people don't want, left and right. So I'm pretty skeptical in terms of, do I think that'll actually, anything will actually happen with that idea? Probably not. Now, do you think this will have a big impact on the upcoming election? Because again, we're seeing a lot of these, a lot of this anecdotal evidence is adding up. Do you think it'll actually, swing the election one way or the other, or move culturally or politically, that needle? Let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Trump telling Zelenskyy it takes 2 to tango when they're hanging out, and Trump says how he has a relationship with Putin as well. This as Zelenskyy was visiting Trump Tower, and they're trying to think, well, what do we actually do at the end of the day? In terms of, there's a little blame on the left and right, how do we resolve this? Now, I apologize, that specific clip right now, let's see, try and pull it up here. Let's see. Give me a New York minute here. See if we can get lucky with this particular clip here. One of those things where just add it and it accidentally X'd out that particular screen. Eluding me at the moment. I'll find it through a couple more scrolls. See, there's that one on Zelenskyy, but where's the actual clip of 2 to tango? All right, try one more spot, and I appreciate everyone's patience. Again, let me know in the comments, anything I can be doing better on the show, what kind of, pretty much any positive feedback is appreciated. I know I definitely need to work on decreasing my, my speech pace, slowly but surely trying to get better on that, and, well, pronunciation of most things, continues to elude me, though. I like to think I'm slowly but surely, getting a little bit better at it. But let me pull up this really quick. Venmo app, where is? Try one more spot here. Maybe it is the right one. Let me go back there. All right, let's try this clip out. I appreciate everyone's patience today. Yeah, this is Lives TikTok. She says Zelensky looks depressed and sad. He knows his blank checks are stopping when Trump comes to the office. Let's see, about 39 seconds long. And yeah, it's funny to see how the juxtaposition is very true in terms of all of Zelensky's interactions when it comes to Kamala. I mean, he is eyes bright and happy as a bee because, again, it's one of those things where, well, yeah, it's one of those things where he's gotten what, $200 billion under the Biden-Harris administration. It's quite a truck. I was going to say pretty penny. Truckloads of, actually, no, aircraft carriers of pennies if we're counting up those $200 billion. Without too much further ado.
It to end, and he wants it to end, and he wants it to end as quickly as possible. He wants a fair transaction to take place, and I think, I mean, right now I'm campaigning, so right now I don't have much to do with it other than we're doing very well in terms of the campaign, and I've been saying that I believe if I win, we're going to have a very fair and I think actually rather rapid deal. It should stop, and the president wants it to stop, and I'm sure President Putin wants it to stop, and that's a good combination. So we want to have a fair deal for everybody.
What do you envision as fair?
Well, it's too early to say that. I mean,
Zelensky's like so he's never looked sadder in his life. It's like I was like say he's taken hostage. In every other meeting with especially Democrats, he is he's just a jubilee and happy as all hell. This went pretty well. I got 1.4 million views as well as 31,000 likes. One of the first comments coming from AKA saying, quote, LMFAO, good old Zelensky. He knows the war is going to come to an end when Trump gets in and he's sad. Getting 263 likes. We also have Joni Maga saying, endless bank account with Kamala and Zelensky knows it. Every country wants us to have a weak leader like her. Getting 31 likes. Paul Zupa says Zelensky knows the free ride is over. Getting 68 likes. We do have our favorite leftist. Well, not really, but I follow him because, again, left gets a little bit boring in your echo chamber, so more opinion is better. Luke Zelensky says, quote, Trump and Putin are extorting the world. Humiliating Zelensky is part of Trump's pledging public agenda to Putin. Getting 4 likes. Mentally vacuous as usual, Luke. Although he actually did respond to the actual content. He usually just does a copy paste of Orange Man bad or Elon bad. So Luke actually did use all 3 or 4 of his brain cells. I'm only partially jesting and exaggerating, but yeah, fascinating how the one time Putin did not expand his mass of land and increase the square footage of Russia was when Trump was in office. He gained more land when Obama was in office, and then when Biden was in office. Fascinatingly enough, Trump was a lot more harsh on Putin than Biden and Obama was, which is, again, why Russia didn't expand when Trump was in office. So, mostly meant to be vacuous, but Luke did get 4 likes, which, to his credit, is more likes than I've gotten in a couple of my videos. So, I don't have too much ground to stand on, so I would argue. Now, you also have Craig Chamberlain saying, quote, wow, Zelensky definitely doesn't look happy there, getting 6, if I get 7 likes. Actually, someone responded to Craig, now I'm curious. Richard responded saying, I know that look, Coke wore off, getting 2 likes. And there's a Craig Chamberlain getting 7 likes saying, wow, Zelensky definitely doesn't look too happy there. Which, yeah, he definitely doesn't. My life picture says, look at defeat. It's a screenshot of Trump talking when Zelensky is standing there in his cliche sweater. $200 billion, you can't afford a suit? Come on, man. As we know, all good men do suit up. You look your best. Now, you also have Paratrooper Brady saying, quote, he knows his gravy train is over, and maybe Trump said to him, you know I'm going to audit Ukraine, right? Getting 148 likes, which, yeah, we've been sending over pallets of money with basically no strings attached, and a lot of it is walking away. And even is interesting, like now, of course, the mainstream media is always saying Ukraine, they need our money, they need our help, even though they're not going to have elections unless the U.S. pays for it. They're banning a lot of religions and political oppositions to Zelensky, but they need our help. But why back the clock a couple years? Even Washington Post, CNN, Fox News, a lot of the mainstream media was actually they're all in kind of the same train of thought where they were rating Ukraine as one of the most corrupt countries on the planet. Now you also have, let's see, we'll do 1 or 2 more comments here. I have a Wireman, it's an AI-generated image of Zelensky looking homeless. It says, little Zelensky without his sugar bit Biden, getting 64 likes, which, yeah, I mean, I can't imagine how much personal wealth he's gained throughout the past couple of years. I suspect he'll never be homeless or on hard times. Let's see. Yeah, not seeing too many contrarian comments here. And again, it's become a very political issue in the U.S. It has become a thing about I'd say half of the U.S. wants us to continue to fund that war, and half wants it to stop. And a lot of people, interestingly enough, have Ukrainian flags in their profiles and their front lawns in the United States. When, interestingly enough, those same people, a lot of them don't have American flags. But I partially digress. And I think this will continue to be one of the biggest political issues, and especially if U.S. is $35 trillion in debt thanks to Republicans and Democrats spending our money like never before, and yet we still have money to send overseas to something that most Americans can't punch out a map. And business-wise, or economically, we're not their top 10 trading partners. Like, it's almost incomprehensible from a business perspective, and most of their top 10 business partners are enemies or countries that we don't have great relations with. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that money spigot actually turns off. I mean, if Trump actually if he gets elected. And what are your thoughts? Do you think we should continue to fund the war? Do you see it as a humanitarian issue on the Ukrainian perspective or the Russian perspective? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. I do apologize. It might take me a little bit longer than usual since this week's been a little bit hectic. End of fiscal quarter was earlier, so I'm playing a little bit of catch up at work. So apologize if it takes me a little time to get to the comments. But as always, I greatly appreciate it and would love to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Boars Head recall now up to 19 states being affected by the infected deli meat. This comes to us thanks to US Today, specifically Mary Waldrop and Mike Snyder. Again, click that button to subscribe so you can help my speaking aptitudes. I could someday make it through a whole episode speaking coherently. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, again, what I was attempting to say, this article is by Mary and Mike. And they say, quote, map shows 19 states affected by a listeria outbreak tied to Boars Head deli meat. They say, let me pull up that interactive map here, actually, which looks like, still safe in the great state, or some might argue the great country of Texas, as there's not yet been an outbreak, thankfully. Now, they say, quote, the latest CDC numbers show the outbreak is continuing to expand. 1 new death, 2 new hospitalizations, and a case of illness in one state. We have broken records since the CDC noted August 28th, bringing the total numbers to 59 sick, including 10 dead across now 19 states. The new death occurred in New York, making it the second in that state. Said officials, the outbreak also spread to Louisiana, where 1 hospitalization was now being reported. Now it says Boars Head recalled 71 products since July 26, equating 7.2 million pounds of deli meats. Brand is also facing legal action as at least 1 class action lawsuit on the books from early August. The family of 1 victim, an 88-year-old Holocaust survivor from Virginia, previously his family is planning to take steps for legal plans as well. And here you can see on the map, you got 1 person sick in New Mexico, Arizona, Minnesota, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana. Florida's got 3 sick people. Georgia had 2. South Carolina had 2. North Carolina had 2. Tennessee had 1. Got Kentucky with 4. Got Maryland with let's see here, with 8. Pennsylvania 2 sick. New Jersey 6 sick people. Then New York you have 17 sick people, and then Massachusetts 3 sick people. And Hawaii was safe for all those who care about Hawaii, and California. So I can't believe that these lawsuits are going to pile up. Now, granted, legally speaking, in terms of the debate, I don't think the actual lawsuits are going to bankrupt them. I think it's going to be the brand damage and the reputation damage, and just the evaporation of trust from the general public. And again, it's gotten so bad they actually shut down that factory with no immediate plans to reopen it. Again, it was one of the worst factory conditions that officials had ever seen. It was mold, bugs. It was viscerally disgusting. Obviously, not up to any sort of code. And granted, it's disgusting to have this type of recall where it's preventable if you just did your proper maintenance of facilities and all that kind of stuff. And people are passing away, and you've had more and more people be hospitalized, up to 19 states and counting. Who knows how many there'll be. So again, I used to read off the specific barcodes, or not barcodes, the package codes, the products. At this point, I mean, all those items, not worth it. If you see the Boars Head logo in your fridge, toss it out. I know it's hard times, and food's getting more and more expensive these days, but it's just not worth the risk. And I mean, these days, I don't think I would ever buy that brand for the foreseeable future. They need to make a lot of changes in leadership policies, and I'm pretty pessimistic to see how that might actually hammer out. I mean, personally, I mean, not that I was a big consumer prior to this, but I'm definitely not going to be in the foreseeable future. And I gotta say, this outbreak continues to get worse and worse. And I gotta say, Boars Head meat, that you are certainly yet again the business blunder of the day. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I really appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make sure better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.